December 2nd, 1984. In the quiet city of Bhopal, India, millions of people were asleep. Children lay beside their parents. Street dogs wandered through empty alleys. A faint industrial glow flickered in the distance. It was supposed to be an ordinary night, but just after midnight, something invisible began spreading through the air. At first, it looked like fog. Then people started coughing, then choking, then collapsing, and within hours, an entire city was running for its life. This is the story of the Bhopal gas tragedy. The night a city woke up gasping for breath. In the late 1960s, Bhopal was growing fast. New jobs, new neighborhoods, new hope. And just outside the city, a pesticide plant was built. It promised something simple: protect crops, feed families, support farmers. But inside that factory sat something far more dangerous: a chemical called methyl isocyanate, or MIC. Most people living nearby had never heard of it. They didn't know that even a small exposure could burn the lungs, blind the eyes, or kill. And they definitely didn't know that just a few hundred meters away from their homes, massive tanks were storing tens of thousands of kilograms of it. And here's the part most people don't realize. The factory wasn't originally surrounded by homes. The city grew around it. Families moved closer because the land was cheap, because jobs were nearby, because no one warned them what was sitting behind those walls. So life continued. Children played outside, markets stayed busy, and every night, people went to sleep right next to one of the most dangerous chemicals on Earth. At first, the plant followed strict safety rules. Everything was monitored, maintained, controlled. But by the early 1980s, things started changing. Demand for pesticides dropped. The company began losing money. And that's when the decisions started. Staff were cut, training was shortened, maintenance was delayed, safety systems slowly began to fail, and none of it caused a disaster. At first, one of the most critical systems was refrigeration. It kept the chemical cool, stable, less reactive, but to save money, it was turned off. A gas scrubber designed to neutralize leaks was often running below capacity. A flare tower, meant to burn toxic gas, sometimes didn't work at all. Individually, each problem didn't seem catastrophic, but together, they were building something dangerous, something invisible, something waiting. December 2nd, 1984, night shift workers arrive inside the plant. 3 massive tanks hold methyl isocyanate. One of them, Tank 610, contains over 40 tons. Everything seems normal, routine, quiet, until something enters the tank that should never have been there: water. Exactly how it got in, no one knows for certain. A cleaning process, a faulty valve, a small mistake. But that's all it took. Because when water meets MIC, it doesn't just mix, it reacts violently. Inside the tank, temperature begins to rise. Slowly at first, then faster. Pressure starts building. The reaction is accelerating. In the control room, workers notice something strange. The gauges are rising, too fast. But faulty readings weren't unusual, so at first, they assume it's just another malfunction. But this time, it wasn't. The numbers keep climbing, temperature rising, pressure surging, inside Tank 610. The reaction is now completely out of control. By the time they realize what's happening, it's already too late. Just after midnight, a safety valve bursts open, and in an instant, a massive cloud of toxic gas explodes into the night air. Thousands of kilograms of MIC escaping all at once. Normally, multiple systems would stop this. refrigeration, scrubber, flare tower, layer after layer of protection. But that night, almost none of them worked. The refrigeration system was off. The scrubber couldn't handle the volume. The flare tower failed to ignite. There was nothing left to stop it. And then the wind carried it, straight toward the city. At first, it looked like fog, drifting through the streets. Silent, slow. Then people started coughing, violently, uncontrollably. Their eyes burned like acid. Some couldn't even open them. Their lungs tightened. Breathing became impossible. And this is where everything turned into chaos. People woke up in panic. Families ran outside, thinking they'd be safer. But outside was worse. The gas had already spread everywhere. People ran blindly through the dark. Some ran toward safety. Others ran deeper into the gas without knowing it. Some collapsed after just a few steps. Others never made it out of their homes. Children cried as parents carried them. Some parents fell, still holding their children. Entire families disappeared into the streets. Within minutes, hospitals began filling up, then overflowing, hundreds of patients, then thousands. Doctors didn't know what gas had been released, which meant they didn't know how to treat it. They weren't just overwhelmed, they were guessing. People arrived gasping for air, vomiting, blind, convulsing. Doctors tried oxygen, injections, anything. Some treatments worked, some didn't. Some made things worse. Patients filled hallways, floors, every available space, and still, they kept coming. By morning, the city had changed. Bodies filled the streets. Animals lay dead. Dogs, cows, birds, entire neighborhoods silenced. Some families were found still in bed. The gas had entered their homes while they slept. They never even knew what happened. In the first days, thousands died, officially around 3,000, but that number kept rising. Over time, more than 15,000 people would lose their lives. Hundreds of thousands were injured, and the suffering didn't stop. Survivors developed lifelong conditions, damaged lungs, chronic illness, blindness. Children born years later were still affected. Investigations revealed the truth. Safety systems had failed. Maintenance had been ignored. Warnings had been overlooked. The disaster wasn't sudden. It was built, slowly, over years. A chain of decisions, each one making the system weaker, until finally it broke. The Bhopal gas tragedy wasn't caused by nature. It wasn't a storm, it wasn't an earthquake, it was human, and decades later, the impact still hasn't disappeared. Some survivors say they still wake up in the middle of the night, struggling to breathe, as if the gas never really left. On one quiet night in December, Bhopal went to sleep and woke up fighting for air. If you want more stories about places where history refuses to stay buried, hit the subscribe button and check out these videos next. Thanks for watching.